Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Stephen Larson. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Impact Wrestling on the road to Bound for Glory. We're going to be talking about the latest on possible NXT Call Ups. AEW needs to start watching their language, apparently. But that's kind of the least of their problems right now, because we're going to talk about all their backstage issues in just a second. Quick reminder, tonight on the twitch.tv/Stephen Larson, we are going to be doing a SmackDown watch along, because who knows what will happen these days in the Paul Levesque era. And we want those sweet, sweet reactions, Larson.
We do.
So, yeah, we're going to be doing that tonight on the Twitch for the East Coast feed of SmackDown. So the live version of SmackDown. Although I think this week they're like taping two back to back.
They are.
Because next week, of course, they're going to be over there in the UK.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Let's get into this. There's a lot. We've been talking about this, I feel like, for several weeks, even though maybe it's just been this week, about how AEW may be on the verge of just being a complete mess backstage.
Yeah.
So in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer offered up more details on Tony Khan's talent meeting that went down before Dynamite, and reported on what was addressed and what wasn't addressed. This is what Dave had to say. Quote, "There are many who believe Punk, who is the company's biggest star, was the reason," as far as Colt being the Colt Cabana situation.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, it was prefaced. I neglected to put that quote in there. Punk has told people he wasn't. On one hand, there needed to be a direct answer as to what happened and why, but on the other hand, how that would have been addressed by Khan would have left top people furious either way. Punk's promo on Page was a receipt for what he thought was a promo Page did building up their match in Vegas that he didn't think was conducive to building the match at pay-per-view. The general reaction is the meeting went well, but this is not Larson speaking, this is Dave still, also didn't sense it smooth over the biggest issues. And really the issue of unhappy talent being they aren't getting matches every week or stories is inherent with a big roster and lack of television. Now a significant number of those who thought they could never be stars in WWE based on Vince McMahon's narrow perception of who can be a star suddenly think it could be different, which changes a lot of dynamics with future contracts that expire. He continues later on. One wrestler noted to us that Khan made it very clear he was not going to be a pushover for demands by the talent. There have been a lot of instances where talent of late has made demands on what they want in regard to the pay-per-view. In some cases, Khan has done that thinking the pros' ideas are better. In others, he hasn't. In one case, it involves shaking up the entire show, even though the match that would result, Young Bucks versus FTR, would probably have been the best match on the show. In that instance, decision was already made for the trios tournaments and bringing back Kenny Omega.
So that's interesting. That last bit, because you and I had both speculated for ages that because it just made all the sense in the world. I'm sure we weren't the only ones. Wanted Young Bucks versus FTR. In fact, there was a lot of speculation on Twitter that in a way the Young Bucks were dodging FTR because they're, and that mind you, that's chat. That's like silly internet wrestling Twitter chatter based on what felt like obvious. And you can sort of put the pieces together, even if they actually don't fit that way in real life.
Yes.
I'm sure the Young Bucks, I'm just saying, I would think that the Young Bucks would have no problems, being a co-main event with FTR, given that they would be the two. This would be a huge, huge match for them.
Yes.
And but with Kenny on the way back and Tony Khan obviously really wanting to do these trios titles, it made a lot of sense, I guess, to do that as well to him. You can debate on which one would be the way to go, but that's the way Tony Khan went. A lot of interesting things. Probably the most interesting thing is just how much the retirement resignation of Vince McMahon has altered the landscape mentally for a lot of these wrestlers who are now like, wait a second, you got Gargano there. If Cole was still a free agent, you have to think that he would probably have remained there.
Yeah, I mean, the odds would definitely be much higher that he would remain in WWE, yeah.
But the idea that now a lot of the wrestlers that AEW was their one place that they would have a spot, now the other guys are opening up shop to a variety of wrestlers.
The playing field is far more open. Let me get this in real quick about the cult stuff. Just get the background. Of course, it was this is what Dave said. What we noted that I felt needed to be addressed and also completely expected it wouldn't be was a catalyst of the Punk Page Punk issues, which has to do with Colt Cabana being removed from the Dark Order, no longer being brought to Dynamite, and eventually signing a new contract, believed to be for the same money for ROH. There was a question whether he would be given a new deal, but those in management did push to Tony Khan. It would be the best thing to do so. So I meant to put that in prior to the bit from Meltzer I had read from earlier. So apologies. We'll get the context in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, now again, it used to be AEW was, hey, we're competition for talent. Well, WWE now with Vince gone, hey, now we're kind of competition for talent as well. And when people look at their situation, they might think, well, hey, in AEW, I'm here and I've got a shot to be on TV. Well, now in WWE, they got 7 hours of television running every week. Now it's like, well, wait, now this is not the only place I have to be. I do appreciate that Tony Khan is not looking to be another Eric Bischoff, and he's not looking to get stuffed in a closet. So that's good on him, because again, this is the one thing that you and I have always said: there needs to be accountability.
Yes, there needs to be structure that's respected.
And that's one thing that I don't know if it's here. I'll look it up to see where. But did you see that Billy Gunn gave an interview recently?
Oh, no.
Where he talked about, and I'll look up in a second here what the outlet was. Talked about all those years in WWF, WWE, and the structure they had there, and how things in AEW, I believe his quote was something akin to the Wild Wild West, or the Wild West, not the song. It's the Wild West there, and he says and I think he sort of pared that back a little bit, but essentially it's not as structured as WWE, and it does feel like maybe this is something that was necessary to happen for it to get better there. And oftentimes when you have especially a massive roster like this, and one guy, I was thinking about it and how you and I have talked about the stories that are being told in AEW and how it seems to be like the actual stories being told seem to be fewer and far between.
Yeah.
And, man, when you think about it from, you and I, we both fancy ourselves creatives. When you think about it from a creative standpoint, wrestling is one of those things, it never ends. It never stops. And it's one thing when you have a certain number of people on your roster and you're like, oh, man, I've got all these stories that I want to work out. Well, you're coming up to a pay-per-view. You've got, let's say, 11 to 13 matches probably on the card. So if you take that and you think about every week you've got between 11 and 15 stories that you're actively telling, at a certain point, your creative mind is going to burn out.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why I really feel like if he doesn't have a lot of help right now, he at some point you'd think that he'd probably want to get that just so that people can start getting in. You're hiring these people, you're signing them, you want to use them, but sometimes I understand that the creative mind can just burn out.
Totally, and less like a writing staff, because it seems to be something Tony Khan is not really an idea he's not keen on, but more like, to use the terminology of years past, the booking committee.
Yeah.
Someone who, a group of people who he can bounce creative ideas off of and vice versa.
Yeah.
And they can discuss ideas, try to find the best story to tell with said idea. And then, ultimately Tony greenlights it or not. But yeah, I mean, at a certain point, if it's just one person doing it all the time, you're going to burn out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I have the quote from Billy Gunn here. It was on the Sessions with Renee.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He said, I'm a very structured person, especially in the wrestling business. In WWE, there's one thing, and if you don't like it, you ask that one person. They say, no, we'll do it that way. So you'll do it that way. And I'm not saying it's not good for AEW. I'm saying it's a little bit on the Wild West side. Not used to that, and that's the hardest adjustment.
That's coming from
That's from Wrestling Inc.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I wouldn't mind listening to that because that dude's been around forever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's talk about some more CM Punk stuff. So, former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. commented on the reports of heat between CM Punk and Hangman Page on the latest episode of his Wrestling with Freddie podcast. This we had to say. These transcripts are from Inside the Ropes. Says there's two ways to look at it. Either it's a work shoot and he's trying to turn heel, or there's real stuff going on and it was receipt time. I happen to know that it's more of the latter. I think he's just trying to take advantage of it and saying, okay, I'll roll with it. But not everyone backstage loves CM Punk. It's not just because of Colt Cabana, because of the way they feel he's behaved since he's got there behind the curtain. It was actually something that Hangman Page said in his promo when they were having their run to the title match, I remember Paige said, "I'm not just defending this title, I'm defending for all those people in back there." A lot of people don't feel like Punk shows anyone respect, really, at least not the type of respect. Well, let's change the word because respect is earned, the type of dignity that one would expect at work. When you don't treat people as necessary parts of the pie, and I've seen this in a lot of movies, people look at you a certain way. That's what I've been told as the kind of stuff that is going on. Hangman Page said a lot of real stuff.
Ooh, that was the line that you and I both sort of perked up at. You know, when we were talking about, okay, what was it that Paige said that got CM Punk rankled? Obviously Freddie Prinze has, this dude's been in the industry for a long time as well.
Yeah.
And, you have often said, and I agree with it, a lot of people have their own perspectives and their own agendas. Mm-hmm. But there does seem to be a little bit more to it than just, some people are pissed off at CM Punk, or some people are, it seems to be a little bit more widespread than, just like one person saying, hey, this guy's been a prick to me or whatever.
Yeah. Or he uses influence to get Colt Cabana out of the backstage area,
Yeah, right. So yeah, I don't know, man. It obviously it went from the kind of thing that, pre-Punk, where they would often, the multiple talent would often talk about how it's got like a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes in and he's a big deal. He's getting paid big money. And he goes out there and says one thing on TV and he comes back behind the curtains and it's like, oh, so you're not like really like that. That shit needs to be handled. Like if you're going to be getting paid that big money, don't you think some of that money should go to being like a locker room leader? You
would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so. Yeah, you're getting paid to be the guy around there. Mm-hmm. And, I guess it's not necessarily mandatory if you're the top guy that you also be a locker room leader, but also when you got someone like Punk who has years of experience, has been through all sorts of stuff in the industry, you'd like to hope that's the type of guy who would step up and be like, all right, I'll be the leader. I'll show an example of how things should be done.
Yeah.
And if you go out there and shoot on somebody in a promo, and put them in a position where they look awful, just so you can get a little bit of revenge, I don't really feel, it doesn't seem like in this day and age that's really the right way to go about being a leader.
Page's response on being the elite was pretty damn funny.
Oh, what did he say?
He was channeling his inner Brody with the Dark Order. He was backstage with them in like an office, and he's like he's pepping him up, sort of being very Brody Lee-esque, like, come on, get the fuck out there, and then like a PA comes in and says, hey Paige, Punk is out there calling you out. Get the fuck out of here. The little clip is floating around Twitter. It's the only reason I saw it.
Funny.
It's funny. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, it was good. It was really funny.
That is funny.
You have to appreciate Hangman Page doing that shit.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I honestly hope, and there's a little bit more here we're going to talk about here in a second about maybe another AEW show.
Yeah.
But I really hope this is the kind of thing where whatever's going on back there, because even Punk and his, like, and him and Tony had like an interview or like a press conference or whatever, a media thing, where Punk, maybe it was an interview with Sports Illustrated, I think it was. He didn't.
Oh, he said.
Yeah, he didn't really deny any of it. Obviously, there's always the you always got to talk shit about the dirt sheets. You always have to do that. First and foremost, you have to call out Dave Meltzer. At some point, that's going to turn into Sean Ross Sapp. But first and foremost, the guys who are reporting on shit that's actually happening, that wrestlers basically confirm. But before they confirm that it's happening, they have to put down the dirt sheets. Don't trust them. But by the way,
let me pull up that quote because it is interesting. It was an interview with Sports Illustrated. Happy you brought that up because this is what he said. You try not to put too much stock in internet rumors, but for AEW, I definitely think that's part of our audience. Twitter's not real life, though. On top of that, a lie makes its way around the world twice before the truth puts its boots on to get out of bed. If I addressed every rumor, I'd be here all day. I love AEW. It's not a competition who loves it more, who's the heart and soul, or who's this or who's that. AEW allowed me a second chance to do what I do best, and that's professionally wrestle. He says it's one side of the story. My locker room is never closed. It's always open. Anybody wants to DM Meltzer some bullshit, you can come talk to me about it. I'm not macho. Stupid bullshit. I'm an adult. Come talk with me.
Yeah, but then the problem is when you come talk to him, what's he going to say?
Yeah, I know. Is he going to be dismissive? You know? You're going to walk in the door and Phil just rolls his eyes.
Yeah, right. Oh, God, I got to deal with this guy again. Tony. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, we're not back there. We don't know what's going on. But clearly there's something going on. And, wouldn't he be dismissing it outright if nothing was happening? If this was pure fabrication, Well,
I mean, what it feels like is his attempt at damage control, essentially to say, well, someone's got an issue. They've never talked to me about it.
Yeah, right.
And I'm the adult here. So if you want to talk about it one-on-one, then come knock on my door. That's how I read that.
Yeah, sure.
Let us take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. So, Steve, question for you.
Yes.
I'm a shoe guy, so I'm going to ask you this. How well do you think I'd take care of my shoes if I had to keep the same pair, just one pair of shoes, for the rest of my life?
Oh, my gosh, for the rest of your life?
I said for the rest of my life, yes.
I was just making sure I heard you right.
You did?
Man, I'm got to figure you're going to take really good care of them, like get the old toothbrush out and, this is the sound as you cleaning your shoes obsessively every day for the rest of your life. Absolutely. Yeah, you take great care of them.
Of course I'd take great care of them. I get one pair of shoes the rest of my life. Yes, I would take great care. Yet, we only get one brain, and a lot of us don't treat it with that same level of care. See, how we care for our brains and minds can affect how we experience life.
That's totally true, Larson, and there are plenty of ways you can support your brain health. You could learn a new language, or you could take a lot of power naps like I do. That's a little easier than learning a new language. Or you could try BetterHelp Online Therapy.
Yeah, there was a period in my life where I was dealing with severe anxiety, and rather than treat my mental health like the old beat-up pair of shoes I wear for yard work, I looked for some help. And having gone through the process of trying to find a therapist, I know how difficult it can be to find the right person to talk to. But BetterHelp Online Therapy makes that process much more convenient by offering video, phone, and even live chat therapy sessions.
BetterHelp can get you matched up with a therapist in less than 48 hours, and it's much more affordable than in-person therapy. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. So as far as the issue of talent getting more TV time there in AEW, Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer, reports that there's a possibility that AEW could be getting another wrestling-focused show. He said this, given they are booking buildings in October, one would think an announcement would be made very soon, but they are clearly in the plans to increase the production amount of in-ring product. If they are taping 2 nights a week regularly, whether that means more streaming or more television, that will remain to be seen.
So apparently they're doing 2 dates every week in October.
Mm-hmm.
So live Dynamite, live Ramp. I would guess live Rampage, but
was there something in the newsletter this week about Tony Khan wanting to juice up Rampages? Okay, this is completely pure speculation on my part, but what if he's going to look to make Rampage to be a true companion to Dynamite? Maybe beef that up to 2 hours and make it a more consequential show, because at this point it is not that at all.
I mean, if that's the plan, then to coincide with that, they need a better time spot.
That's absolutely true.
Because if they stay in the same position in the schedule, not much is going to change.
Well, don't you think it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy then? Because it's like, okay, we have a bad time slot. It feels we have a bad time slot, so we're kind of not going to care about it that much. Like, we're not going to put important stuff on there because it's a bad time slot, because people aren't watching it because it's a bad time slot,
But because it's a bad time slot, it doesn't really benefit us to put good stuff.
Bit of a catch-22, yeah,
it
exactly.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, and I think any changes in terms of making Rampage feel more important has to coincide with them getting a better time spot.
Well, okay, let me ask you this, though, because, I think they pay attention to the +3s and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, the DVR numbers, yeah.
If you put on, and we're not, I don't think we're privy to that stuff. We seem to only get like the overall viewership in the demo.
The live viewership, yeah.
If you add like compelling television, I mean, it should make, I'm not saying they're going to do 1 million or even 800,000, but like if you can get Rampage up to Like
here might be the primary reason why the live numbers are so important. It could be for ad rates.
Yeah.
If you get somebody ad impressions live, DVR, everybody fast forward to the commercial.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So if you want to get the live numbers up for Dynamite, just logistically, you can't a Friday night from 10 to midnight.
Yeah, right. It's terrible. Yeah.
That's a crap time spot.
It is. Yeah.
It's an awful time spot. So if the plan is go 2 hours, make it more consequential, for that to really feel like it matters, they got to get a different spot on the schedule.
Yeah. Speaking of AEW and their television programming in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer also reported that AEW has apparently been told by Warner Brothers Discovery, tone down the language on Dynamite and Rampage. Stated this: word has gotten to the promotion that Warner Brothers Discovery that they'd like the language toned down. As best we can tell, they have said nothing about the blood, so Mox is safe.
Well, at least there's that.
Yeah,
Mox is safe, at least. Yeah, he can pour buckets of blood in the ring, but he can't say shit as often.
Yeah, I mean, they really do enjoy saying the word shit there on AEW programming.
It did. I mean, you remember, like recalling the early episodes, like once someone would say shit, and now there's shit all over the place.
There's shit all over AEW these days.
Yeah. There's shit everywhere.
There's shit everywhere. They're throwing shit on the walls. It's not working. Their rating was really good this week, though.
It was. They had the world title defense or the unification, so that makes sense.
You would hope that number would be pretty good.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Anyway, it was better, but it was up 100,000, up 10% roughly.
I don't know. People, I see people say, "Oh, shouldn't this be better?" The actual title match got like a 1.2 million, I think. The actual, or 1.3, something like that. Actually did pretty good. I mean, like, what do you expect? He's gonna go like double the fucking number? Doesn't work that way, Because I see that on Twitter. People saying, "Oh, they only did this." I'm like, well, a 10% increase is actually not terrible. You got 100,000 more people to tune in.
I know.
But I get it. You got a world title defense. It's the most compelling angle in kayfabe and out of kayfabe. And you'd think that maybe they could pull a little bit better. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's you and I have always said this. It's not about, we had criticized WWE over and over again about what? The short-term ratings bump. You do, you're going to hotshot this so you get a short-term ratings bump. Okay, we'll see how that works. It's all about the long-term storytelling. And you know what? In WWE right now, look at the Raw number. It's working. They're doing new things. They're getting rid of rematches. They're adding more time, more wrestling time. And they had a big bump that first week. The next week, it went down, but not that much. The next week, it went up.
Yep. They're hovering around 2 million Raws as opposed to 1.7, 1.8. So that's again, about a 10% jump.
When you give people a reason to tune in on a weekly basis, word will get around. It's not going to be a 1 week fix.
Nope, not at all. Yeah, not at all. Let's. We got one more news story before we go to our Impact and NXT UK, the second to last NXT UK.
I know, man.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. So it seems pretty obvious based on what happened on this past Tuesday's NXT that Legado, for sure, is getting called up. Indy Hartwell, highly likely. They're main roster bound. But we could see somebody else make their way up to the main roster pretty soon. PW Insider is reporting that, quote, there's been a lot of talk over the last week within the NXT circles that Solo Sikoa could be main roster bound in the very near future, possibly as soon as next month. Now, this is the first time we've heard Solo's name being brought up in regards to getting called up to main. Just a month ago, Louis Dangoor reported that it was likely that Sikoa would get called up sometime after SummerSlam. I feel like at least a couple occasions prior to that.
His name has been brought up quite a bit, and now I'm really excited. Like, if it was during the Vince era, I would have been like, oh, okay, hopefully they'll tell something cool with this. But like now, under Triple H, Solo Sikoa coming up to me, I love his character on NXT, man. He is absolutely one of the highlights. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with this dude. I really am.
I'm actually pretty excited about all three. Like Legado.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Never really felt like they were booked to their full potential in NXT.
I agree.
Indy, I'm interested to see if and how her story with Loomis continues on main roster.
Yeah.
Because that'd be a great way to humanize Dexter Loomis for the Raw audience.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then, of course, Solo Sikoa, man, just have him debut in a segment opposite the Usos in Roman. just to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk about something else we're looking forward to. Bound for Glory. Of course, we're on the road to Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
Over here at Impact
They're
Wrestling.
kind of skipping over Victory Road, except for the barbed wire massacre match. I wonder if that's going to be the main event.
Oh, shit, that's right. Victory Road is first.
That's September, yeah.
It's Bound for Glory. That's right. Yeah, Victory Road. You got to take that exit off Victory Road first, but it's a quick one. It's just a rest stop, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got Barbed Wire Massacre. I love Sammy Callahan's so great. He's just like this roly-poly fucking death machine. He takes it to Moose and Macklin at the same time. And then a great little bit of storytelling. They happen to see a fence with barbed wire. They pull it down and start wrapping his ass in it. And then, of course, he stumbles out later on, like, because that happens outside. He stumbles in, hey, Moose.
Still wrapped in barbed wire.
Still wrapped in barbed wire. Barbed Wire Massacre match. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, bro. But it sounds cool.
Well, he had one with Eddie Edwards.
Oh, it's probably okay. Were we watching at the time?
Yeah. We watched it.
Okay. All right.
That match.
There are so many variations on the hardcore deathmatch type thing that Sammy Callahan specifically does.
Well, it was the Clockwork
Monsters
Orange
Ball,
House of Fun they just had. Yeah, Monsters
Clockwork,
Ball.
Yeah, all that
and
stuff.
now Barbed Wire Massacre.
It's great because it's just, he just comes up with clever new ways to just say, hey, let's just have a match where we fuck each other up. I'll give you a couple pile drivers on a board of barbed wire, and we'll be good. It'll be fun. No, I thought this was a fun episode. I think this is gonna be a fun one to review, just because. So Impact, they have this wonderful thing where on one hand they have some really well executed, well done wrestling angles, stories, etc., etc. They treat their women's division better than anybody.
Yeah.
At the same time,
there's Honor No More.
there's so much unintentionally hilarious stuff, and that's why Impact is one of my favorite things to review with you.
Yeah. They keep insisting on trying to book. Now even Scott D'Amore's like, I don't like Honor No More. Good brothers, go beat them.
He is openly
basically rooting against them. I know.
He's supposed to be like the objective. It's like, okay, no, I'm who the best man wins. He's telling the Good Brothers, go shut them up.
Oh, he too sweets them.
He too sweets the Good Brothers. They need to get like a Good Brother ref out there.
There you go.
One of the players from what's their pay-per-view series called?
Whose? Talking Shop-A-Mania?
Talking Shop-A-Mania, yeah.
Oh, you want to get a Rocky Romero in there as a Good Brother ref?
There you go. I can't remember any other crazy characters from that series. It's good stuff though. What's going? So like we had this. To me, the highlight. Well, actually, the actual highlight of the show was Jessica's debut match.
Yeah, that was great. Her song's great.
The fucking cause I'm sick. I'm this close to getting a t-shirt. Because it's number one, it's a good looking t-shirt. It's like pink and it's like it's a black shirt, but it's got like pink and green and purple on it, which is like a great
it's a great color combination. Yeah.
But the whole "cause I'm sick" thing had me rolling. Yeah. And Rosemary being all in on it was absolutely hilarious. I thought it was a wildly fun quote unquote debut match for the character of Jessica. And then of course the unintentionally hilarious highlight for me was Ed Edwards cutting this promo on Josh Alexander for like a good 7 minutes, and then he gets taken out by Heath.
Well, he talks in circles for 7 minutes.
And
like he's on the
way.
He was walking up the ring steps to get in the ring, and he pauses because the crowd's chanting something at him.
Yeah,
and the look on his face was, well, that didn't work.
Oh man, and he's like, if you're in our group, then it doesn't matter who wins at the pay-per-view,
because we're fighting a war against wrestling companies who don't treat us well.
Yeah, but none of it mattered because then Heath drops his ass.
I know.
With the wake-up call, and it's like, this is the challenger? Like, what did Honor No More do to Scott D'Amore? What did they do? Because they are booked like clowns. Now, that being said, it's possible, I guess, that Honor No More wins the tag titles. But beyond that, they are booked like absolute clowns, and it's hilarious.
They really are.
It is.
I mean, I guess the go-home math would seem to indicate that there's a pretty good chance they win those tag titles, but I'd be hesitant to say it's a certainty.
Yeah, no, it's Honor No More. I would not.
Exactly.
I'm not going to put a lot of confidence points on this at all. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, Honor No More, they're booked perpetually like clowns, but they always are like one win away. Like they always get that one win that keeps them like around. It keeps them relatively relevant.
Degree,
yeah, exactly. A thorn in the side of Scott D'Amore, albeit a minor one.
Yeah.
It kicked off with Mia Yim and Jordan Grace versus Vexed, the team of Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green. I love their Tron this week too. It was really great.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah.
So anyways, so there's obviously, Chelsea and Deonna. They work pretty well as a team. This is the first time Mia Yim and Jordan Grace, from what I can tell, have teamed together. And so they're kind of a thrown together tag team. And then so Purrazzo ends up getting the win on Jordan Grace after Vexed hits their finish because Chelsea Green snaps Jordan's head over the second round. There's just all sorts of shenanigans going on here.
Yeah. Then we got a Violent by Design promo. Eric Young says the sickness showed us that it's powerful. They are not winning the war. They came back strong, came back together and pushed back.
We pushed back on them. So here's the reason why we're doing this, because it was cut this way. Like they would punctuate his promo,
certain phrases and words. Yeah,
they'd air it again from a different camera,
and they'd put like some reverb on it and stuff. Yeah,
understand.
He says, "Is the sickness in remission or is it dormant, gathering strength? Time will tell. Time is important to Time Machine. They transcend time. They are everyone. They are everywhere. The faster Time Machine learns that the world doesn't belong to them, the faster they learn their time is up."
Cody Deaner, are you paying attention to my words? And he's like, no.
Picking his nose.
Because that dude, you knew that dude was eating that pin.
Yep.
After that, Vincent comes in. He chats up Josh Alexander. And it's Lacey walked in at this point. She's like, "Is that supposed to be like a homeless guy?" And I was like, "No, like he's supposed to be like a non-charismatic Charles Manson."
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, Vincent says, "It's just like Impact to pit us against each other." And Josh says, "I don't like these mind games, man. The only one getting sympathy tonight is you after I drop your ass with a C4 spike."
Yep.
Yeah. Then we had Mike Bennett.
Steve, talk about this match. I know you were a fan of it.
Dude. I don't know. So I'm going to take the long route here because who gives a fuck? You know how like indie shows, when they bring in a big name, one of two things happens. Either the big name that comes in, like Eddie Kingston came in, I forget what the promotion was, but I saw clips of it, and it was a killer match, right? Yeah. I get the feeling that wherever Eddie Kingston goes, this dude will give you everything he has, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you bring in like a bigger name, and they just sort of phone it in. It's like, hey, I'm here. My name recognition is enough to pop the crowd, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I feel like that was this. This felt like the most paint-by-numbers wrestling match, chock full of just headlocks and strutting around, milling about, plenty of chops, but none were all that impressive. It was just a whole lot of nothing. And then we get a finish, which is just sort of, there's like all sorts of shenanigans going on the outside. Doc Gallows does his little trot to ringside, choke slams Matt Taven, who had come out there to interfere. There was Maria getting involved. And of course, this match, the stipulation was if Machine Gun Carl Anderson got the win, Maria's banned to ringside for the tag title match, which is probably going to end up somehow backfiring on the Good Brothers.
Yep.
So anyways, what's his face? Carl Anderson hits a gun stun for the win here. The Good Brothers go backstage, and Scott D'Amore's there. He's like, "Hey, guys, you're the best. It's time. I think you guys do what you got to do. You guys are going to do what you do best. You're going to defend those tag titles against Honor No More next week." And they're like, "Hey, boss, yeah, this is great news. We're going to do it. We'll gladly do it. Too sweet, me brother." And then, Scott's like, "Yeah, you need to go shut their mouths.
We too sweets them."
Yeah, and he too sweets them.
He too sweets them.
Well, Scott D'Amore's Bullet Club. He's an
right.
official member of Bullet Club, so it's kind of, it's apropos.
But also, he's like chief executive of this wrestling company.
Bullet Club.
Scott D'Amore.
Hates on her no more.
There we go. Then we're backstage. Savannah Evans getting checked out by the doctor after getting choked out by Killer Kelly. Tasha Steelz asked the doctor, what's wrong with her? And the doctor just says, she might have some internal damage.
This dude's
We'll
useless.
have to do more tests.
Fucking useless doctor.
And then Tasha tells the doctor to take care of her. She leaves, walks right into Gia Miller. Of course, Gia's there. She wants an interview. She asks how Savannah's doing. Tasha says she's not doing well because of that, because of Killer Kelly. And while Ashley starts to talk, Killer Kelly creeps up behind.
Oh, man.
And she says, well, if Killer Kelly wanted my attention, she's got it. And then Killer Kelly comes up and sneaks up behind Tasha, puts her in the killer clutch, and then Let's Go tells Tasha, when I finish you, it won't be from behind. You'll see me coming.
Yeah. I'm just sad that we didn't get to hear Killer Kelly's awesome theme song this week.
Yeah, it's a good theme.
Really cool theme song. Very
It is good.
unnerving. Yeah, I wonder if Savannah Evans is going to get a Z-Pack from that doctor. She has.
I don't know what's wrong. Have a Z-Pack.
Have a Z-Pack. After that, we had Jason Hodge versus Bhupinder Gujjar. Gujjar wins this pretty quickly with a gargoyle spill. We had Brian Myers on commentary.
Yeah.
He hits the ring, grabs the mic, says, you're a hell of an athlete. He says, yeah, I know you want another shot at me. I'm just so busy, I don't know when I can give you another shot. But I can do it right now. And he clocks Gujjar. Whoop-a with the microphone. Hits a big DDT, and he covers, but referee Scott Armstrong doesn't count. He's like, "What? This isn't a match, dude." And then Myers gets up, and he starts like getting his face, arguing with him. Scott Armstrong's like, "No, look at Patch. I'm ref. You can't bully me." Mm-hmm. And then and that gives Gujjar a chance to get up. He hits a big boot, hits a gargoyle spear. He makes the cover, and Scott Armstrong's like, "Yeah, fuck this guy. 1, 2, 3."
Yeah, he shrugs and counts the pin.
And then Gujjar grabs the title, and he takes it with him. He's just like, hey, this is mine now. And commentary, This is long-term storytelling. They're like, it's the same thing that Cardona or Myers did to Rich Swann.
Yep.
Just took the title.
Then we are backstage. Deanna and Chelsea Green are walking up to Gail Kim, interrupting conversation she's having no less. And they ask Gail if they saw what happened. They're unstoppable. And Deanna says, it's about time. Gail, you stop playing favorites and make me number one contender for the Knockouts title. And Gail says, yes, Deanna, you do deserve a shot. So does Masha Slamovich. So next week, it's going to be you versus Masha. Winner gets Jordan Grace at Bound for Glory.
Bound for Glory. Gujjar's walking backstage with his newly won title, and Scott Armstrong says, it's not actually yours now. He says, hey, that was good stuff. It's good to see you put Myers in his place, but heat of the moment, that wasn't actually a legit win. And he says, yeah, no, man, I know. But if Brian Myers wants his title back, he can come get it from me. And Armstrong's like, well, you just give it to me. He's like, no. And he walks away.
Yeah. He's like, not going to happen. Then we got Vincent versus Josh Alexander. No shocker here. Alexander wins. He reverses a guillotine into a Falcon Arrow, follows with a C4 spike to get the win. I didn't necessarily see Vincent getting much sympathy after getting dropped right on his head. Just as Josh Alexander stated he would, and then Ed Edwards comes out and then drops a really long promo that said not a whole lot of anything. Is all about hey, we should be on the same side. Just because we have a match doesn't mean you have to be enemies. Keeps on talking about how companies are trying to turn wrestlers into mindless grunts. Says, I have chosen my side. You can see the fans have chosen their side. They support the machine because they love to watch great men and women reduced to their own pitiful level. Says, so Josh, the last question is, which side will you be on? Which side will you choose? He just keeps going. There's no reason they have to go to battle. They can stand together in this war, and if they do that, if they stand together in this war, they can have their match at Bound for Glory. No matter who wins the title, they'll both win.
It's not. I mean, I get what he's saying. The title will remain within Honor No More. But
also, like on a moral sense, they both would win because they're not
doing what the
man
wants.
But if you don't do this, so you on the ring steps, you could tell based on his body language that he could tell this promo is going over like
dog shit,
like absolute dog shit. And so he gets in the ring, that Heath runs in and drops him with a wake up call.
And it's just, dude, it's just Heath.
I know.
Like the thing about Heath is that he has spent an entire career being a guy who really shouldn't be taken seriously. He's a good wrestler, and he's very good at that at the guy who is sort of funny, and sometimes he can get some sympathy because he's the everyman. But one thing he is not is a faction hunter. And yet they have booked him to be the most effective faction hunter.
Oh.
I've never seen anybody, not Kazarian, not Yoshitatsu, anybody take out the lead member of a faction during a promo for a world title match. God damn it, pal.
Should Heath be the one getting the title opportunity instead of Ed Edwards?
Kind of. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Justice for Heath.
There we go.
After that, we had Raj Singh and Shera. Raj saying this is unfair. Shera was injured against Josh Alexander, but once he's healthy, we're going to prove that their luck has run out.
Yeah, just somebody's luck's run out. So then you hear like some arguing. So the camera pans over down the stairwell.
Oh, yeah.
And there's Moose and Macklin. They're just arguing. Sammy comes up from behind them, attacks. The brawl goes out the parking lot, and that's where you mentioned barbed wire came into play. Eventually, Sammy's all bloody, and he's all wrapped up in barbed wire.
Like, the thing is, Sammy, don't you hang back and watch this new alliance
You would think so.
fall apart and dissolve? Like, don't you play the mind games instead of just I'm going to roll right into them? Like a little Tasmanian devil of anger and angst and violence. But I guess that's just what he knows.
Yeah. Then we get a real awesome Masha Slamovich video package. And then Alicia Edwards takes on Jessica.
'Cause I'm sick.
Super quick match. Jessica catches Alicia's top rope crossbody, hits a driver for the win.
Yeah, man. I thought this was really funny, man. This is real. I love this character of Jessica.
Oh, it was fantastic.
After that, Callahan stumbles to commentary, grabs a mic. He's still just completely wrapped in barbed wire. He's bleeding. And he challenges Moose and Macklin to a barbed wire massacre match at Victory Road. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Who's going to win that match? You think Moose got to win that match, right? Moose has to get something on him.
Didn't Moose win one of their matches?
He won like the first one, I think.
I thought Callahan won the first one, then Moose won the second one.
Is that
Yeah,
how it
Moose
went?
won the second one because of Macklin.
Oh, okay.
So Moose won the Clockwork Orange.
Well, you know
one,
who's not going to win this match? Macklin.
Steve Cutler.
Oh, Macklin. Come on. Pay some respect.
Oh, sorry.
To that guy. Come on. He's got that.
Well, maybe he will win this one, and each of them have a win.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, turn this into a real thing. That's cool.
And then they need a rubber match, the fourth match, rubber match.
What
Then
would
we
that
have made
one
event.
be? Like you conglomerate all those matches together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a human centipede match.
Oh, wow.
It's always like, well, he likes those, the sort of pulpy, movies, the cult movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what's another cult movie that he can find inspiration from? The Hostel match.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That movie's fucked up. Those movies.
That is a messed up movie.
Yeah.
Then we had our main event, Violent by Design.
Violent by design, die by design.
Versus Time Machine. So Chris Sabin is like isolated Friendo 2/3 of this.
Yeah, right.
This bout. He's just getting the crap beat out of him. Eric Young's looking for a pile driver on him. Instead, Sabin reverses into a backdrop. Diener tags in, and then seemingly all rules for this tag match just cease to exist.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Because everybody's in the ring, and
Turns
the
into a
rest not
tornado
doing
match,
anything. So then Time Machine just proceeds to hit a bunch of stuff on everybody. And then they ultimately win with a bunch more moves on Diener. Cradle shock from Sabin to get the win.
Yeah,
it's literally like 3 minutes of Time Machine doing double T and triple T moves on Violent by Design.
That's what it was, yeah. Second to last, NXT UK. Next week will be our big send-off for NXT UK.
Yep.
Of course, the championship, the firmly already decided UK championship match tournament semifinals were this week, where we had Trent Seven taking on Oliver Carter, and of course Tyler Bate taking on Joe Coffey, who always just reminds me of Train Spotting whenever he talks. He just yells a lot, and he just sounds like Big B. It's my time, it's my kingdom. I'm going to take this from Tyler Bate, then take it from Trent Seven. Sick boy. Hear it, boy. Fuck you. Anyways, yeah, that was good stuff. And then we had like a killer.
The main event was really good.
Yeah, Noam Dar versus Mark Coffey for that Heritage Cup. Sad last days of Heritage Cup, probably.
I know. How come Noam Dar isn't gonna have a match against Carmelo Hayes at Worlds Collide?
Supernova 11 versus Carmelo
Great.
Hayes. That'd be a great match. Bring
That'd be
Shaw over
fantastic.
too. East End
Yeah, that was
bookie can
great.
become the Orlando bookie.
Could be.
Yeah.
No, he got released. Remember?
No, I'm saying if they hadn't done that, that's what it could have been.
I know.
But I guess he's back to being the East End butcher.
That was great when he popped up there at the end.
That was awesome.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of drama, but the matches were all still really good. So can't
that's
complain.
always what it is.
The show opened with Trent taking on Oliver Carter. They both have little promos beforehand. Trent says it's his destiny to be champ, and a one-legged man won't stop him. And
Hey, let me ask you this real quick before we get into this. Do you think had I don't know the timeline in terms of the tapings and stuff, but like what was known? There's like a little video promo, but that clearly was done after the fact.
After the fact, and like half the people featured in the video package got released.
Was this originally heading towards Trent getting that title?
Well, I mean, all this stuff was shot like early July.
Yeah.
Before Triple H took over.
It feels like they were going to head towards Trent getting that title and then beefing with Tyler Bate over it. If Ilya was going to, if he was going to vacate it, I wonder if Trent would have been, they didn't set up anything. No, because it was the week after Ilya had his match with Wolfgang. Mm-hmm. But it would not shock me if the plan was to because Trent, they were building him up as like number one heel guy.
Yeah.
And it would not shock me if they were going to have him and Bate feud over the title and Trent would have held it. Kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Oliver Carter also had a promo. He says, I've been struggling with my knee, but nothing motivates me than become a champ. Naturally, Trent is just trying to destroy Oliver Carter's knee and leg throughout the match, and eventually pays off. He locks on a figure 4, and Carter tries to get the ropes. Trent pulls him back to the middle of the ring. He tries to fight out of it. Trent eventually just puts the knee even tighter, starts punching Carter's knee, and Carter has to tap out.
Yeah.
It was a fun match, though.
No, it was fun. It was a really good story there. After that, we had Tyler Bate versus Joe Coffey. Tyler had a promo. He said this big, strong boy gets one step closer tonight to becoming the 2-time champion and one step closer to getting his hands on Trent Seven. He's totally looking past Joe Coffey.
Oh, yeah.
And then Joe Coffey says, I said bye to Mark Andrews to see the big, strong boy. But tonight, Trent boy, he'll be the one to have his hand raised because this is my kingdom.
Yeah.
Trent boy. And then, but no, that didn't happen because Tyler got it was a backslide that he got here.
Yep, it was. It was. So after the match, this cracked me up. So Trent walks down the ramp while Tyler's celebrating in the ring. And there's that older lady who just is screaming, Tyler's gonna kill you at Trent. And Trent walks around, he looks at her, and as he's about to walk in the ring, I swear he's about to laugh.
I gotta rewatch that because I wasn't really paying that close attention.
I swear he is trying not to laugh.
I want to watch
this
that
older
now.
lady just yelling at him that Tyler's gonna kill him.
That's awesome.
I had to watch it twice because it cracked me up. So Tyler's inviting him to get in the ring. Trent goes up a couple of the ring steps. Decides to leave instead.
Yeah. God, I love Trent Seven. I hope we see him somewhere soon.
I know, me too.
I think they have it's like a 30 to 45 day no compete.
Oh, no compete, yeah. Yeah, I saw that too.
After that, Slimy Sid announces that Blair Davenport and Mel, Eliza, and
Isla Dawn.
Isla Dawn, are going to compete to become number one contender in a women's title, but I don't even know how that's going to fucking play out.
We do because Blair Davenport was.
I guess, that's right.
Thanking repeatedly that she's number one contender. She knows who wins this.
That's totally right. After that, we had that video package I mentioned for NXT Europe, and then we had Noam Dar versus Mark Coffey.
This was a hell of a bout.
For the Heritage Rules. I love these Heritage Rules matches,
I know,
man. I hope they bring
fun.
them back when NXT
I
Europe
hope so
become a
too.
thing.
I hope so too. So we get our first fall in round 3. So Dar's looking for a Nova roller. Mark Coffey too slow to get up, so Dar goes over to pick him up, and then Coffey ends up hitting Dar with a sliding forearm for the pin, so Coffey is up 1-0, and then Dar is like selling that he got knocked out. He can't get up, stumbling all over the place, but it's all a ruse because eventually he rolls up Coffey and then transitions into a knee bar, and Coffey taps pretty quickly because there's at least one more round to go. So then we go to round 5. Dar puts on a knee bar with like 45 seconds left in the round. Coffey tries to fight out of it. Eventually, time just expires, so we have to go to a 6th and final round.
Death.
So Coffee hits the sliding forearm on Dar, but that sends him out of the ring. So Coffee goes to the floor, puts him back in the ring. Shaw Samuels jumps the barricade, pushes Mark Coffey into the ring post, puts him back in the ring. This all happens while Dar's got the ref distracted, and then Noam hits the Nova Roller to get the win. He is new and a 2-time Heritage Cup champion.
And they celebrate. It looks like Shaw got his clothes back, too.
Yep.
So that was cool. So, yeah, there's your second to last NXT UK review.
Yep.
Sad last days.
It really is. It's a bummer.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Like we said earlier in the show tonight, twitch.tv/Stephen Larson will be watching some SmackDown Live.
Indeed.
Yeah, so thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.